After 7 stages of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship, Richard Mason came, saw and conquered. The 2006 champ winning 5 of the 7 stages. Defending champ Hayden Patton had no answer. Patrick Malley scored a perfect run in the battle for the 2-wheel drive honours. 6 stages on day 2 from the forest to the rivers of Hawke's Bay. Who will take the pace to Richard Mason and who will lead the championship? It's day 2 of the Tomawana Warehousing Rally Hawke's Bay. 7 a.m. on a perfect morning in the Hawke's Bay. Under new rally regulations, drivers are resetted on day 2. So Richard Mason will leave the cars out today over the roads of the Bay.
First on the road always suits me. I like being there. I can choose my own lines and you don't sort of get that brain thing going on where other people have braked somewhere else and maybe you're braking early or late.
With some repeat stages today, it won't really be a problem being one on the road?
No, I don't think it'll be a problem. As I say, either way, I like being first on the road. So second pass through is a different kettle of fish. You get the whole field going through, and it's a completely different line, and it's quite swept.
So we're going to see the Richard Mason charge at some stage today?
Oh, I would expect to see it at some stage.
Hayden Patton will drop back to second on the road, so he'll be in Mason's tyre tracks for day 2. The biggest change is for Emma Gilmore, who moves up to third on the road order after her great performance on day 1.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be too bad. Like the road swept in spots yesterday, but it was actually pretty loose, I think, even for where we were on the road. And we repeat the stages today as well, so we're definitely going to have sort of similar advantage come the repeat of the stages.
But today really based around forestry stages?
Yeah, I think the first forestry stage will be a real challenge. It'll be interesting to see how slippery it is in there this morning. But yeah, we've got good tyres, so feeling pretty confident going into there.
That moves Chris West down to 4th on the road, just ahead of rally sponsor Stuart Taylor, who'll be hoping for a better day today after crashing out on day 1. So let's see what's in store with the Vantage Aluminium Joinery Stage Preview.
The second day of Rally Hawke's Bay starts with Special Stage 8, Esk Forest. At 24 kilometres long, it's a cool stage. It has a bit of everything. It starts out as a traditional forestry stage, but changes through a rough and narrow section that includes a water crossing. The stage then opens out through farmland with a fast tarmac section over crests, before the spectator junction, where we then head back into another forestry section. Next stage, Waitara, is the longest stage of day 2 at 30 kilometres long. Another great Hawke's Bay stage. It starts super fast along a 3-lane wide logging road before a tricky junction right after a long blind crest at 10 kilometres. The stage then changes character and the road becomes narrow with a lot of camber. Really good fun to drive as you can really make the car dance through the tighter corners. Dust could be a problem in here as the road is a little more open and dry than the previous stage. After service, we head out to a repeat of the first 2 stages. Running stages repeatedly can actually be quite good as it sweeps a lot of the loose gravel off the road, but in forestry stages it can be a bit of a problem as sometimes you pull up looser, rougher rocks and punctures can be a real concern. After service, we head out to the final 2 stages of the rally. Triple Bridges is a short 11-kilometre blast along a riverbed. It's a great stage for the spectators to watch as it's close to Napier and Hastings, but it can be a bit of a challenge for the drivers as the stage is rough, narrow and very fast, and you don't want to make mistakes so close to the end of the rally. The final stage, Dartmoor, hasn't been used for many years and it's quite different in character to the other county road stages we've been driving on. Instead of running through steep terrain, the 21-kilometre stage runs through more rolling farmland. Dust was a real problem on recce and it could still be a problem on the rally, especially running late in the afternoon and at 1-minute intervals.
So a picture-perfect day waiting for the drivers. The stage, remember, has a tricky ford, which can always catch out the unwary. Richard Mason, first on the road. Conditions, Roger Davis, look ideal.
Yeah, they certainly do. They look pretty good. A little bit of dust thrown up, and remember the cars are 1 minute apart, so that could be a problem for the competitors further back. But Richard taking a big cut there across the grass. The thing you've got to be careful in these forestry stages, you can see a lot of rocks there, as the rocks get kicked out. As the cars go over, they get kicked out, you can get punches. And the other thing you've got to be careful about is if you're cutting the apex too tight, be careful of the branches.
Now, it may not seem like a big deal to be number 2 on the road, but at least now Hayden Patton knows exactly how hard Richard Mason is pushing.
He certainly is, Clinton. You can see the brake marks here, so Hayden can use those brake marks as a bit of a guide. Watching Richard's marks come through here, maybe it'll be an advantage for him. He could pick up the pace a little bit.
Fast 5 right plus in, 80, 50, back 6 right plus, 80, 7 right, tighten, short 5 plus, end.
He's not the one making all the railway tracks for the others to follow for a change.
And it's very important to stay in those railway tracks through the stage.
Emma Gilmore now running third on the road after a great performance on day one. Terrible start to the season for Chris West. He had gear linkage failure on day one, so now running fourth on the road. Out for a bit of rally redemption.
Yeah, 4 on the road. It's a good place to be at the moment. But Chris West is working the car pretty hard here. In fact, there's a bit of understeer coming off the turn there. So maybe Chris has got problems early on.
Left minus. Short right. And 4 left plus. 13 jumping out of gear. Yeah.
So still some gear problems in the Excite Evo.
Well, that's not going to do his confidence any good with the jumping out of gear. So Chris has to just keep his calm today.
Also looking for a better Sunday, the local man Stuart Taylor had a crash on day one, repaired the car overnight. So with the top 5 now on the stage, here's Richard Mason. He's approaching the Ford. Quite a steep descent down to the stream, Roger.
Yeah, it doesn't look steep on TV, but I can assure you it's very steep and very rough.
Very rocky.
Sure is. Let's see the approach. Well, that was almost perfect. A little bit slow in, but he gets out of it pretty quickly, and he's off up the hill.
Well, let's see what Mason's pace is going to be like today, heading down towards the finish.
4 right minus.
Dominant performance on day one. Of course, the 2006 champion, determined to regain his title after losing it to Patton last year. He stops the clock at 17:33.9.
Wasn't so bad, was it?
Sarah Mason's happy. Now Hayden Patton. What can he do? Can he go over the Ford?
Well, he was very similar to Richard. Slowed the car right down and then got across with virtually no fuss. A little bit wide coming out of it.
4 right line.
You notice how the road widens out a little bit towards the end here, Clint.
Short 4 plus, end over finish.
Time to beat, remember, 17:33.9. So he's going to be slow already.
Well, 3 seconds down, that's not too bad. He's still in there.
Next through the Ford, Emma Gilmore.
Well, she certainly attacked that Ford. She looked pretty fast through there, Clint.
Emma's time, 17 minutes 57.4, so she's looked fast, but she's lost 20 seconds somewhere. Stu Taylor, cautious approach. But he's actually the third fastest, 17 minutes 50.6. Still a big gap behind Mason and Patton, though. Chris West, fourth fastest through the stage. Time's getting a bit slower, Roger.
Yeah, they certainly are. The roads are getting a little bit rougher. In fact, you can see it in Chris there. He's working very hard. Coming down the hill, you see the car bouncing. So, yep, times will be slower.
Bit of a worry for the drivers as the stage is starting to already cut up a bit.
And also the gear selection problem there.
Dean Sumner had big problems with pace notes on day one. Hopefully the team have worked on those notes, improved their situation for day 2.
Well, a very cautious approach coming into the Ford, but a vigorous approach coming out of it. So Dean, on day 1, he had a few problems, but he's still got a good result, so he'd be looking for consistency today.
Let's see how Dean goes down to the line.
Well down on time.
17 minutes 55.5, fifth fastest. So a real battle developing between Taylor, West and Gilmore now. Talk about overnight work. The Transnet team had to put extra hours in to get Glenn Inkster's Evo 6 to the line. Damage more cosmetic than anything, though, after that rollover on day 1.
Well, we also saw on day 1 with the onboard shots that these Group A cars, you've got to throw them around. So let's see how Glenn takes the Ford.
1 right.
Well, he took it a little bit slowly, but understeering, he's pulled the handbrake to try and get the car around there.
Seventh fastest behind Emma Gilmore through that stage. Good to see Sloane Cox back running today, but running with a standard gearbox.
That shouldn't slow him down much. Ratios will be fairly similar, I guess, as he comes down with the new Evo 10 down to the Ford. Let's see how he goes.
Even 1 right, keep smooth.
Oh, something's happened there.
Oh no, he's done a Peter Solberg.
certainly looked like that, Clint. And if you notice, when he came into forward, he approached on the right-hand side, and I think maybe the sump guard or something's dug underneath, so they're stuck here.
That could cause problems for the rest of the field too.
Well, that's confirmed that you can see there that the intercooler's come away, the front bumper's come off, and the sump guard is actually jammed underneath, so they will struggle here.
And that's Kieran Hall who's been held up as Sloane Cox and the boys gets his car out of the way from the Ford. Hope it's not a design fault in the new cars, because Kingsley Thompson's on the way too. And the new Evo 10, another one.
Oh, he's done the same thing.
Wow. Unbelievable disaster here.
He has done exactly the same thing, I think, Clint. 2 Evo 10s in the rally and they're parked beside each other.
So with Thompson sidelined and Hall slowed down by Cox, Matt Jensen took up the rookie challenge again, sliding into 8th overall with a time of 18 minutes 05. Can't believe his luck.
And there they are, slowing him down because hopefully the road's not blocked for him.
We said this Ford was going to be tricky. What a start to day 2 of the Rally Hawke's Bay.
Well, look at the difference of the Subaru going through there with the road clearance. Quite a bit more for the Subaru.
Jeff Argyle off the pace in 9th, 35 seconds down on the leader. Stephen Barker slotted into 10th in his Evo 4. Roger, looks like these narrow forestry stages will suit the modern Group N cars compared to the oldest type of cars.
Yeah, the older cars like this Group A car, and you saw Stephen Barker pull the handbrake to try and get round there, so they can't really throw them around on this type of surface. Now, just listen to the co-driver, Brett Lightfoot, very enthusiastic, and he's probably got to be a little bit careful that he doesn't lose his voice.
So after the opening stage of day 2, it's Mason out in front, followed by Patton, Taylor, West, and then Dean Sumner. That's your top 5.
Emma Gilmore down in 6th place, Glenn Inkster, the open car, in 7th, and the rookie Matt Jensen in 8th place.
The stick around team out of the forest into the fast open country of Rally Hawke's Bay. That's coming up. Welcome back to the Tomawana Warehousing Rally Hawke's Bay. It's day 2. Vantage Aluminium joining New Zealand Rally Championship out of the forest and into the fast open country. Bit tight and twisty in the middle part of this stage. Special stage 9 Waitara. A chance for the open class cars perhaps to try and catch up on the lead once again being set by Mace the Pace. Richard Mason, first on the road again.
50.
And that road looks in beautiful condition as well.
Danger. Crest 50, 2 right, minus injunction cut.
What do they mean by danger when a co-driver calls that out, Roger?
Well, they're just coming over crest now, so over the crest is going to be a very tight corner. And they need to call it way before to make sure they slow down for it.
Another problem for the drivers on day 2. Remember, in 2009, the cars are running 1 minute gap, and that increases the chances of the cars following getting caught up in the dust.
Well, you can clearly see that as he comes through this cutting. Quite a bit of dust starting to settle down on the road there. So they've got to concentrate on the pace notes now.
Blip, turn 2 right, don't.
John Kennard calling the notes for Hayden Patton.
Blip.
They must be wondering, on day 1 they were first on the road. Wasn't really that dusty at the start of the rally, but here they are now second. They've got the dust problem. Can't believe their bad luck.
Yeah, it's going to be worse for the ones behind them. Look at the dust that Hayden's thrown up.
So let's see what Richard Mason's time is. Remember, his lead so far, 3 seconds on that first stage.
Well, look at the road condition as well. It's tight now. It was fast previously, so the stage really tightens up towards the end here.
30, 4 right, minus, finish. 4 left, flat.
19:38.4. Now, what can Patton do?
Well, he's going to be slower quite a bit, so I think Clint. He's already down on Mason.
Looks like he's got a bit of trouble here.
Flat 5 left, plus over crest.
You can see there, struggling. He's pulling the handbrake to try and get the car around the turn.
5 left, 80.
Wow, he's lost 24 seconds now.
Just can't do it in the lecture. No, there. It just will not do it, will it? Just sits out there, up there.
So problems for Pad. Also, we saw continuing gear problems on stage 1 for Chris West. So will that get worse? He's already guaranteed one spot, though, because poor old Stuart Taylor had a turbo blow on the way to the stage start. So the third place spot is now up for grabs. Now, remember, West was already 20 seconds down on Mason through stage 8. So he's unlikely to catch that over this stage.
Into 4 left minus, into 4 right.
In fact, Westy's going to be slower than Pat in this time. 20 minutes, 25.5, 47 seconds down on Mason. Third place up for grabs. Emma Gilmore moving up from 6th to 3rd. Great effort. Third fastest on this stage too. Now on board with Dean Sumner and Paul Fallon in the ITN Evo.
7 right and 4 left minus.
4 doesn't sound good.
No, they're coming to a stop. They've come to a stop.
Okay, put the Z crew out, bro. Yep. Quick.
Well, he's not alone. Glenn Inkster suffering on this stage. Possibly a legacy of the day 1 crash. He would lose 2 minutes and drop from leading the open class to trailing the field in 20th place.
60. Late 6 right. Tightens to 5 minus. Keep in. 6 right. Yep, tightens to 5. That's it. 5 left. 80.
Looks like they're coming to a stop as well. A bit of a gearbox problem here.
7 right. Tightens to 6.
Now, that should have moved Stephen Barker into contention with Jeff Argyle for the top open class cars and even a crack at the top 5, but this was one unlucky stage.
Caution. We got a 5 right, to 4.
Well, that noise isn't the gearboxes in the rear diff, and that's a real shame for these guys. We're going to see a lot more of them through the year, though.
So Jeff Argyle suddenly finds himself back in contention for that top 5 battle up against the rookie Matt Jansen. Argyle stage time 20 minutes 35.7. Jansen was 3.8 seconds in front after stage 1 when they were battling for 8th and 9th.
Line.
Going to get a surprise coming around this corner to see Dean Sumner parked on the road there. His time 20 minutes 28.8, and that moves him up to 5th place just in front of Jeff Argyle by 0.7 seconds.
Into a 5 left, into a 5 right, flip to a 5 right, flip.
So that confirms Jansen as the rookie leader going into the first service. Second rookie was Kieran Hall at 7th place behind Argyle. Third rookie, Josh Marsden. This was a much better performance for the young Christchurch driver, now 9th overall. In the two-wheel drive battle, Patrick Malley continued where he left off on day 1. After 2 stages, he was up to 8th overall and a 20-second lead over the open two-wheel drive car of Aaron Cook. Remember, the Wellington Builders, the defending champion in the Kiwi 2 class, but now running in the open class this year. And in 10th place overall on the road. Ben Hunt was the second Fiesta. He had a breakdown on stage 1, so the young scholarship winner was really having his first taste of rally action over the weekend, showing why he'd won the Rally New Zealand scholarship. Third of the Fiestas was the young man that Hunt beat in that scholarship prize, Daniel Harris, also from Nelson. Harris was 13th overall, but now a minute down on his rival, but he was involved in a tight battle with the 4th place Fiesta of Ben Jagger. The young Northland driver just 4 seconds behind and 14th overall, but on the move, he was 20th after the opening stage of the day. Amazingly, the second of the open two-wheel drives was this modified Fiesta of Tony Foster, over 90 seconds behind Cook's Honda after 2 stages. And the Classics, Ewan Fuge was having a trouble-free run in his Mazda, 16th overall. His great rival, Rob Wiley, lost lots of time when the Nissan drowned in the Ford. But he was still second ahead of the repaired Mitsubishi of Mike Cameron. Driving with his wife, Helen, had problems on day 1. Good to see them back in action today, though, Roger.
It certainly is, and this car they used in the 1978 Motorguard Rally in New Zealand, known as the Wall's Ice Cream Car.
And a few drivers hit the wall in that stage. Look at that lead now for Richard Mason, 27.5 seconds. Matt Jansen moving up into the top 5.
But look at Jeff Argyle, he's only 0.7 behind Jansen. Kieran Hall, the Nelson driver, up in 7th place.
Yeah, the first one this morning was in the forest and Hayden was going pretty good in there, so we only got a couple of seconds, but the last stage was really fast for the first half of it, and then the second half was real tight and twisty, and it was quite swept. Grip in the car was fantastic, so yeah, no, really good.
Well, you go out and do these 2 stages again, I should imagine the roads will be extremely swept for you.
Yeah, they'll be real swept now. Even through the forest, I think it'll be quite swept through there. It's always a little bit softer in the forest, but when we come out onto that main road stuff, man, it's going to be wide and swept then, and then into that tight second half.
And that performance has certainly left some of the opposition stumped.
We can't compete with Richard while the car's like this. Like, I'm trying many different driving styles throughout the stage to try and overcome the car sliding around so much, but just can't carry the corner speed we need to. So, we'll just maybe use the rest of today as a test, so we don't leave here thinking, what do we do now? So we'll just play around with a few things now.
Yeah, we just dropped a little bit back in that second one, but no, we're reasonably happy. The car feels good. We're still experiencing the transmission problems that we had yesterday, but there's not a lot we can do at this time of the day for that issue.
Matt, another good effort so far today. You're currently 5th.
Yeah, it's good to see. We're just trying to keep it on the road and get to the finish now. There's been a fair bit of carnage, so that's sort of played into our favour.
You're just ahead of Jeff Argyle, so maybe that might set a battle up this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll be still trying this afternoon. We definitely would like to keep that 4th place in Group N. It would be nice.
Also looking to get back on the pace is Glenn Inkster. Looking forward to those afternoon stages after problems in the morning.
The long stage is a very enjoyable stage, but we had the shift cables come off, so we lost all gears I had to get out of the car and undo the bonnet and fix the problem, get back in again. So, we pushed on from there, and, we'll see what happens this afternoon, go check the times and see where we're at, really.
Stick around, team. It's no siesta. Coming up, a Sunday afternoon fiesta with a little bit of jazz thrown in. It's Rally Hawke's Bay, Day 2. Welcome back as we take you behind the scenes and meet Jeff Kress, the guy who brings years of experience and wisdom alongside the Rally New Zealand scholarship winner Ben Hunt.
When you start the rally, you've got to get them to the stages on time and get them mentally prepared on the way to tackle the stage, talk about the stage, what stage you're heading towards, what's involved in that stage, where you want to be. Once you start getting into the rally, then it's more about you're looking at your times, you're seeing where you are around your competitors, where you think you can improve. The other thing is obviously the notes, reading the notes to the guys. So especially with young Ben, you're trying to coach him a little bit, because he's asking a lot of questions about his driving. Do you think this is good? Should I be up a gear? Should I be down a gear? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? But you've also got to be concentrating on your notes, and because once you lose your concentration, you could end up in a bit of trouble.
As a co-driver, really, their job doesn't stop. I mean, the driver does a stage, and then the co-driver just doesn't stop, does it?
No, that's right. The co-drivers, we start well before the rally. We do all our organisation, and then right throughout the rally we're always cross-checking where we need to be, what we need to do, and there's a lot of organisation that goes into a rally, and a lot that goes into the team to get them to where they need to be on time and have a successful rally as a result.
Day 2, Tomawana Warehousing Rally Hawke's Bay, the opening round of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. For the first time in this rally, the drivers will get a chance to repeat the stages. And this is where any advantages of road position are lost, so the competition should be a lot closer. Doesn't seem to slow down Richard Mason, though.
Well, nothing seems to slow down Richard Mason these days. We'd probably expect the time to be a little bit quicker than the first run through, because as you can see, the road is a little bit more swept, but you just got to be a little bit careful with these rocks coming in the middle of the road.
Mason's time, 16:55.7. Wow, 38 seconds quicker than the run through this morning. So what can Patton do? Remember, he was just 3 seconds off the pace set by Mason earlier today.
Yeah, but he's got problems with the car, trying to get the car into the turn, so maybe a little bit of a confidence problem there as well.
4 left opens line, K50.
Well, Clint, this section of road is a brand new piece of road that they haven't used before, and you can see how soft it is going through there after 50 cars have gone through previous, so a little bit slippery.
Out past 5 left.
He could be on for a good time here, though.
Plus in, over finish, 80.
Slower than Mason.
Not by much.
17:04.5. At least he's 32 seconds quicker than he was this morning. Stuart Taylor fitted a new turbo at service. But of course he can't score points today, so just a chance to really try and get the feel of this car in this rally. Remember too, his brother Logan's calling the notes.
Well, yeah, it takes a while to get used to that as well, and they've only really had one stage together because of the problems they've had in this rally.
But not a bad time, third fastest through the stage. That's encouraging. More work on Chris West's car at service. Hopefully he solved that gear linkage problem. Starting to show some of the real pace that we expect from Westy, building up a battle too with Emma Gilmore.
3 left. And 2, 3
Westy's certainly got the race face on there, Clint, and trying pretty hard.
His stage time 17 minutes 14.2. Gilmore coming under more pressure now. She was 6 seconds slower than West on the stage, so the gap back to West in fourth just 2.9 seconds. Wow, that's exciting stuff. Meanwhile, Jeff Argyle on the move through the stage. Remember, Jeff has a new co-driver as well. They're getting used to the confidence and the pace notes on the second run. Argyle moves into fifth place at the expense of Matt Jensen. Jensen, though, still the leading rookie. Maybe hasn't pushed as hard as the other drivers.
Yeah, that comes down to experience as well. He's in a big battle with Jeff at the moment, and Jeff's highly experienced, so he's on the charge. So Matt Jensen, he's really just got to stay in there.
Kieran Hall was second rookie, 17 seconds behind Jansen, so a good battle brewing there as well between the rookies. Glenn Easter, big comeback on the stage, 6th fastest over the stage, moved back from 12th to 8th. Maybe a chance to try and catch Argyle.
Talk about trying, he's really trying here, throwing the car around.
Junction 30.
Unlike Kingsley Thompson, unfortunately he's out of the rally. Sloane Cox limped out of stage 1 and made it to service. Although he's running well down the order in last place, still putting in some good stage times, 10th on this stage. And Josh Marsden held 9th place, 3rd of the rookies. So Richard Mason now in a commanding lead. The big battle between West and Gilmore developing for 3rd place. Look at that. And with a long tour to the next stage, the cast needed a top-up at Forest HQ.
Oh, no, that's good. It was about 30 seconds faster than the first run this morning. And the road was quite swept. It had some big ruts in there, and you could sort of put the car in them and hold on. It was quite enjoyable, actually.
A lot more committed through there.
Yeah, there is more commitment second pass through, and it shows in the times.
The next stage will be swept, and it'll be a clean line versus the last stage. It sort of chewed up where it did sweep, so the next one will be a lot different to the previous one.
Kieran Hall's great run came to an end when he suddenly realised he had 2 flat tyres.
We're going to keep going as hard as we can, obviously fairly cautiously, and try and save the tyres as much as possible and see if we can get to service. It might mean stopping mid-stage and changing to our other flat one just to keep some rubber on the rims.
Not such a dramatic change in road conditions for stage 11 Waitara, so we won't see the times coming down like we did through Esk Forest. The rally now seemed to be Richard Mason's to lose. Not only did he have a commanding lead, but he was also looking to grab bonus points for winning the rally overall. This year, there are 10 bonus points available for the overall winner and points awarded all the way to 8th place. So potentially, Mason could score a maximum 74 points. Second place on both days could score 62 points. So a 12-point margin after round 1 would be very valuable. But of course, to finish first you've got to finish. And Mason's time on the stage, 19:29.8, so 8.5 seconds faster than his first run. So for Hayden Patton, the important thing is to hold on to second place and also grab as many points as he could. And also try and sort out those problems with the setup of the car.
2 right plus late.
Well, it's a bit like the WRC with Sebastian Loeb and Nico Hervin, and we've got the same here, Richard Mason, and a bit of a gap back to Hayden Patton, who's trying to bridge the gap.
Max 5 left. 80. That'll do.
Just can't control the back of it.
No, it's just all over the show, isn't it? Never mind.
So he's lost another 20 seconds. In fact, the second fastest time was set by Stuart Taylor. Can't score any points, but great for the confidence. Emma Gilmore also faster than Patton by just 0.2 seconds, so no real change in that gap from second to third. Chris West lost 25 seconds on this stage with a spin. Still held on to 4th place, trailing Emma Gilmore by 30 seconds. Likewise, Jeff Argyle, another 30 seconds back in 5th. But he was now in a dominant position in the open classes. Would you believe it? More troubles for Glenn Inkster.
4 left, 60.
Oh, he's just hit a rock. That'll be a puncher for sure.
Today's not our day.
In fact, Inkster lost 11 minutes when he had to stop on that stage for the puncture. His day was over, dropped to 18th overall. With Hall withdrawn and Thompson retired for the day, the rookie battle was now between Matt Jansen and Josh Marsden. Jansen, consistently the fastest of the rookies, had better pace than the 2008 rookie Sloane Cox. Marsden improving at every stage and now pulling slowly away from the top two-wheel drive cars. Patrick Malley was again leading that battle, but today he'd been narrowly beaten by Aaron Cook on 3 of the 4 stages, so the gap was just 11 seconds to Cook. Cook and the Honda Jazz, easily the fastest of the open two-wheel drive cars, showing all the experience that made him one of the top drivers over the last 3 years. Once again in the battle with the Fiestas, there's Ben Hunt second in that class, although 44 seconds down on Malley. Ben Jagger nearly a minute back in third, so no real competition to Patrick Malley from the young drivers yet. Ewan Fuge still leading the classics. But defending champion Rob Wiley was slowly starting to haul him in. Unfortunately for Wiley, the time lost on stage A was probably too much to make up. Matt Summerfield, second in the open two-wheel drive class in that biodiesel Skoda, 15th overall. So as we head to service with 2 stages to go, it's Richard Mason out in front, nearly a minute lead. The rest of the field having problems.
Matt Jansen leading rookie in 6th place, but look at Patrick Malley leading two-wheel drive in 8th place.
And good to see the young rally scholarship winner Ben Hunt in 10th place.
And it's all about reliability in the classics. Ewan Fuge leading in 13th place.
What can I say? You know, it's been a good day. We can't really complain, can we?
Well, you've also got a big margin like you did on day one. You've got a 55-second lead.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I think Hayden might have sort of given up a bit in the last one and sort of let us go. So we'll see what happens in the next 2 to the finish.
But frustration for Chris West as he realises a simple mistake has cost him a podium chance.
Yeah, we spun just off the when we turned off the fast stuff, and really unfortunate. But when you look at the end of the stage, we were waiting for our time card, and unfortunately I hadn't put the diff in once again. So my fault.
A bit of a costly one because you're looming with a battle there with Emma for a while.
Yeah, like just hey, I've done some silly things in the time, and this is probably takes a cake. I'm just really disappointed for the guys and the sponsors. It was looking for a good result, and just something that has caught us out as unaware, obviously, with the previous cars, and learn from your lessons, so to speak. But it's definitely a costly one.
But Westy wasn't the only one having dramas. Check this out from Inky.
Someone had dragged out a rock into the middle of the road, unsighted and already committed to the corner. Tried to sort of like get it so the rock went between the front wheels because we're going sideways, but it just clipped the front wheel and the wheel shattered. So it broke, and it took a long time to change it because the road was so narrow. We had to get off the road so other cars could get past, and then the jack fell over because the ground was soft. And then by the time we got it changed, I had to run back and get the wheel. So it's just one of those deals. It's just a tough day at the office, really.
Patrick still leading two-wheel drive, but Aaron's actually closing up. There's 11 seconds between you at the moment.
Yeah, he would have closed up quite a bit in the last two. We've had an issue with the car, puncture in the first one, and a couple of gearbox issues, but we're in service now. That's the main thing. Get it all fixed and go out for the last two and try and beat them.
Can the gearbox issues be resolved?
Probably driver base more than anything else. Just hold it in gear and shoot it right as rain.
Coming up, we meet the team behind Team Green, and hang on to it, it's breakneck through the riverbed, a wild ride with Westy and the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Welcome back with a man on the move, Hayden Patton, the defending New Zealand Rally Champion. This year, the young driver will campaign 2 cars, one for the New Zealand Championship, the other for the Asia Pacific Championship. Working long hours too beside his dad, team manager Chris.
Hayden's very involved. He's the one that pretty much steers the ship and spends hours and hours during the week. He does 3 days work a week for us, and the rest of his time is spent organising and sorting rally cars, basically.
Chris, going to New Caledonia, obviously we've spoken a big logistical exercise. What do you have to take because you're so far away from home? Everything that we've got here today, plus more. Take an awful lot more spares, so that under whatever happens to the car, we can always keep it going. We've had to double up on everything that we've got, so all the servicing equipment, the easy ups, pretty much anything and everything, we've got double of that. We've got enough tyres for the next 2 events, which is all a bit of guesswork, because being that we haven't done the events, we're sort of guessing what compounds and what style to take, so we've hopefully got enough to cover the full range, really. And crew-wise, what sort of people do you take with you, and what sort of are their roles over there?
Pretty slim crew-wise. We're running on quite a tight budget to make it all happen, so we're actually sharing a crew member with Rhys Jones. So he's sharing one of our guys and we share one of his guys, which will make 4 service guys that are going all together, myself, Hayden and John, of course.
In a normal championship round here, how many people do you have here servicing for you?
5, generally, 5 service guys.
So it's a busy year ahead for Team Green, but now let's return to day 2 of the Tomoana Warehousing Rally Hawke's Bay. Just 2 stages to go. In a break from tradition, the Triple Bridges stage was run as the penultimate stage of the rally. 11 Ks long. In fact, just 4 drivers would change position on the stage. Richard Mason didn't need to take risks. 4th fastest, 6 minutes 22. Chris West, though, he must have decided got nothing to lose. Maybe a bit of frustration creeping in. Check this out for a huge moment.
Right plus into 6 left minus 80. 6 left plus on crest into 6 right into 5 left plus long.
Oh, he got the car airborne over that jump and looks like he landed in the heavy gravel. Look at all that, just missed those logs.
5 left plus tighten and 4
Probably what
right.
Gary Cowan doesn't need for what could be his last rally with Chris.
But it certainly paid off. His first stage win of the season. Great for the experienced combination. And he closed the gap to just 16 seconds on 3rd place with Emma Gilmore.
But I think a 3rd place is pretty safe. Only 121 kilometre stage to go.
So with that stage to go, here are the positions. They remain the same for the top 5. Mason, Padden, Gilmore, West, Jeff Argyle, top of the open class. So a fast public road stage, lots of gravel to finish the rally, and would you believe it, after all the drama, more bad luck for Glenn Inkster.
On 5 left, 5 right plus, open, 80.
Oh no, looks like more gearbox issues here. It might even be jammed in a gear.
On again. Z gear out.
In fact, there was a day for the walking wounded at the tail of the field. Lee Stringer nursing a sick engine home ahead of Inkster. And Sloane Cox, having never recovered from the time lost in stage 1, came away with 20th from his season opener.
Long 4 right plus.
Yeah, challenging day for the Rotorua driver, the Rotorua teenager. Just remember, he's still at school. He's certainly got a big future in rallying.
Just 3 finishes in the classic cars. A tough weekend for them too, the old cars. Mike Cameron, 3rd and 19th overall. Rob Wiley, 2nd in the class, but still a minute 16 away from class winner Ewan Fuge. In fact, Fuge was the only driver in the class not to strike problems in either day 1 or day 2. 4 finishes, though, in the open 2-wheel drive class. Reg Cook having problems, nursing the Nissan home in 18th place overall. Matt Summerfield struck problems on the last stage and dropped to 3rd in the class in the Skoda. So that put Tony Foster in his open class Fiesta into 2nd. And he was 8.5 minutes behind class leader Aaron Cook. With no real competition in the open class, Cook had to be satisfied with 9th overall. A great day's battle too with Patrick Malley. In fact, it was 5 out of 5 finishes for the Fiesta class. Dominic Unterberger finishing 16th overall. Daniel Harris not matching the pace he set on day 1, 4th of the class, 12th overall. After a slow start, Ben Jagger made up some ground on the afternoon stages. Not enough, though, to catch Ben Hunt. He would finish 3rd in the class, 11th overall. But it was an impressive debut for Ben Hunt, finishing 10th outright, 2nd in class. A big step up, too, from the club rallies in his Starlet. It was just 2.4 seconds in the end, the winning margin for Patrick Malley to claim 1st in the 2-wheel drive over Aaron Cook on the final stage. At the battle for class honours, though, Malley was the fastest Fiesta by a minute 20, scored an outstanding 8th overall. In the four-wheel drives, just 2 rookies finished the day. Josh Marsden, 7th, a big improvement on his day 1 results. And Matt Jansen, 6th overall, capping up a great debut weekend.
Into a 5 right.
Yeah, they'll certainly be very happy with their weekend. As we said last week, we're pretty impressed with this rookie driver from Christchurch.
This is 6 left tight.
And particularly the first time he's been here at Hawke's Bay, he's driven very, very well.
Jeff Argyle also proved a point 2 with another top 5 finish. These open class cars aren't eligible for the Rally Gold Star points, but the drivers can take a podium finish.
5 right minus, short.
Chris West will be looking forward to round 2 in Otago with a fully sorted car under him. 4th today means at least he has points on the board for the rest of the season. Another podium for Emma Gilmore. Good start for her rally season. Heading back towards her old stomping ground of Otago in a top position. As you heard, Hayden Patton has a lot on his plate this year with 2 rally championships to compete in. 2nd place, a good start, but he will be worried about the pace of Richard Mason this weekend.
Wow, he's lucky to get away with that.
So another relatively easy win for Richard Mason, able to back off over the last 2 stages, still took a comfortable victory and won the final stage as a bonus.
15, 5 right.
Well, what can you say? Richard Mason again on top of his game, over a minute quicker than anyone else on day 2. Minute quicker in day 1.
Good job, honey.
And his wife Sarah Mason says it all for the champ.
Sweetie, it was really good.
Richard, well done on the victory, a total clean sweep.
Woohoo! Yeah, no, it's awesome, mate. Awesome. We just did what we had to do for the last 2 stages today, and that can be a little bit nerve-wracking in itself, but here we are.
Well, you certainly deserved it. You really dominated.
Yeah, it has been a little bit dominating, and I don't know why. Maybe the other guys have been a little bit asleep over the summer, and they need to get back into the rhythm.
Certainly no problems with Mason's rhythm. Handy win over Hayden Patton, Emma Gilmore once again coming home in the top 3, followed by Weston Jeff Argyle.
Matt Jansen once again the first rookie in 6th place, and look at Patrick Melly, first 2-wheel drive in 8th.
Ben Hunt becomes Ben 10 for the weekend, and Ewan Fuge first in the Classics, 13th overall.
One of the features we've seen over the weekend is you'll be able to put in blinders just straight away whenever you like.
Yeah, I don't know why that is really. I always try my best in a stage, certainly if it's early on in the day and you need to do your best, then I try my best. And I don't know, sometimes a road will suit you better than another one, and other people it's the other way around. I think that Hayden has maybe been a bit quicker in the forest stuff this weekend in a closeness type thing, and in the open roads maybe we've had a bit of the edge on him.
Yeah, it's obviously good to get home and get a good strong finish to start the year off. Obviously the margin's a lot bigger than what we would have liked, but nevertheless, as we proved last year, consistency is also a key, so it's a good way to get everything started.
The pace is there. It's just we had a few little niggles all weekend, but the car's handling fantastic, and I think the confidence is just going to keep growing. And the aim was always to be on the podium here, to get some good points for the start of the championship, and then looking forward to my home event in Otago and have a good event there.
Patrick, it came down to the wire in the last stage and you won it by 2.4 seconds.
Oh, jeez, I didn't realise it was that much. I thought it was only about 0.2 or 0.3, but we pushed in the last 2 stages, and Triple Bridge is a drag strip, so we're really lucky to get him at the end.
It certainly were, but it sort of made a great battle all day.
Yeah, it made it a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend, and we couldn't be happier with the result, and it makes you feel alive when it comes down to that close. The last stage, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So on the points down, the battle for the New Zealand Gold Star honours, Richard Mason takes maximum points from the weekend, Matt Jansen top rookie in 4th, Patrick Melly 5th equal and leading 2-wheel drive. And Sloane Cox showing that it pays to finish, bringing home his Lancer and picking up at least 9 points. Jeff Argyle leads the open class from Stringer and Barker. And in the open 2-wheel drive class, Aaron Cook takes maximum points. Matt Summerfield's consistent run rewards the Skoda drive with 2nd. Next up, we're off to the Otago Highlands for the first true winter event on the calendar. Will it be late autumn sunshine or the icy winter blast that greet the drivers for Rally Otago, round 2 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship?
Here we are.